to my channel. In this video I'd like to show you how I made this very simple but so sweet dreamcatcher cake out of fondant. So yeah, the inspiration came from my Pinterest board where I saw a lot of dreamcatcher cake, and I thought maybe I'd do one for myself so I can put it in front of my baking shop. So first thing I did, as always, was rolling out my fondant, and the brand I'm using is called Massaticino. It's a brand based in Switzerland, but I'm pretty sure you can get it all over the world by now because it's fantastic. I love it. So what was I saying? Where was I stopping? Yeah, I rolled out my fondant. I always use some cornstarch so that my fondant doesn't stick to the table, which is something you're always looking for, not to have that problem. So always use some cornstarch, roll out your fondant quite nicely, very thin, or as thin as you can get it, and cover your cake with it. The exact measurements of my styropor dummy are down in the info box below if you want to know which size this styropor dummy is. Yeah, so after I covered my cake nicely, I took my, in Germany it's called Marzipankneifer, so it's marzipan crimper, I guess, and I just crimped the top edge of my cake because I wanted to have this nice boho feeling. In a lot of pictures I saw a nice crimped edge, so that's what I started to do. After I had my edge nice and crimped, I took my fondant extruder, I think that's what you call it, and I put some light brown beige colored fondant in it, and I pushed out a nice long rope with a disc that is I don't know how to describe the disc that's in front of it, but basically you just push out a nice long rope and glue it on top of your cake. I used a little lid here so I can kind of guess where I can glue it so it looks nice and round and not so lopsided. And yeah, after I pushed my little markings, I applied some sugar glue, but you can also use, if you don't have any sugar glue, you can just use some regular tap water and apply your fondant this way on top of your fondant cakes. It sticks perfectly well. Okay, after I glued my first basic circle on top, I opened some Google Images to see what kind of pattern is on top of the dreamcatcher, sorry. So yeah, I just opened some Google Images, and then I took my fondant extruder again, put the same color fondant inside, and just pushed out a long rope. And with this long rope, I just tried to make a nice pattern on top. Whatever kind of design and pattern you want on top, just go for it. I'm, to be honest, a bit lazy, so I was I was trying to make a very simple design, but if you have enough patience, please go for it. Make it nice and delicate and intricate designs. I'm just not the one for that, so I tried to make a very simple one, which was fine. I think the look, everything worked together very nicely. Good. So next step, I used this fondant onlay silicone mold, I think it's called. You can get these on Amazon, I'm pretty sure. They are pretty easily available nowadays. And with these onlays, you have to work with fondant that is very nice and thinly rolled. Otherwise, you can't really get it to work. So the problem I had the first times I tried to use these silicone onlays was that my fondant just wasn't as thinly rolled as it had to be, and the problem with that was that I couldn't use it as nicely as I wanted it to. So roll your fondant out as thin as you can, maybe add some Tylose powder or some CMC, or use some sort of gum paste or a mixture of gum paste and fondant. Roll it out very nicely, very thinly, apply it on your onlay silicone mold, and then you roll over the top of it with your rolling pin and just push it through so that you can see the onlay coming through and cutting through the fondant. And as you can imagine right now, if your fondant is rolled out too thickly, you can't really push it through, so the pattern of the onlay won't come through, and that way it won't work. Okay, that's basically how you use onlays. What I did was use the first 1.5 rows of this onlay, I pulled out all of the in-between pieces because I only wanted the loopy part, but you could also use the in-between parts if you would like that. That was just for me what I wanted to do. I did that a few times with the pink one, and I also did that with my purple one and my mint colored one. I prepared those, put them to the side, let them dry for around 30 minutes, so they can be a bit more firmer and don't lose their shape when we work with them. So, next thing I did. Some of you may know this, but I'm using the wax paper transfer method by Jessica Harris. So basically what you do here is take some parchment paper or some wax paper, apply some grease on top of it. Don't use butter or anything, maybe neutral grease. Apply it on your paper so your paper is nice and sticky, and then you apply your fondant cutouts on top of the paper, and the grease helps it so it sticks to the paper, and you can later use it as a helping hand. This is hard to explain for me, so I hope you get where I'm trying to go with this, but basically you just glue your fondant on top of your greasy paper, and after you have one row done, you apply some sugar glue on the back of it, so you have the glue on the back side, and after that you apply it on top of your cake or around your cake. And this method is awesome for having very intricate and very small designs that tend to bend and deform and distort pretty quickly. So by sticking it on some parchment paper, you have the chance to align them nicely instead of aligning them on your cake and maybe lose the shape that you are trying to achieve. You can achieve it on top of your paper and then gluing it as a very nice design on top of your cake instead of applying them all one by one. Yeah, so that's basically the whole technique of this wax paper transfer method. After I did the first row, the last I think 2 ones I applied by hand, and after I applied those 2 by hands, I started with the second row on top of my wax paper, greased wax paper again. So the same thing I did right here. I did 2 times to apply on top of it yet again. And after I was done with that, we can proceed to the next step. Okay, the hardest part is over now. After we applied the nice onlay pattern design, the next step I was starting to do was take my feather mold, silicone feather mold. I dusted it with some cornstarch so nothing sticks, of course, and then just pushed some of my colored fondant inside the mold so I could get out some nice feather shapes. And I wasn't 100% satisfied with the look of my feathers. I'm going to show you what I did after that. But first I cut out a 6 because I wanted to make it look like it's a birthday cake, but that step is totally optional. So next thing, take your extruder again with this sort of disc. I don't know how to describe this form of disc that you put on top of your fondant extruder, but basically that's the disc you put on top. Push out a rope again, twist it so it looks like a rope as it is, and then just cut some random sizes. And those random pieces of fondant that we just cut are going to be applied as some strands where we're going to apply the feathers afterwards. So yeah, just try to make it nice and random, no exact measurements, because it's supposed to look very natural and very boho-esque, if you want to say it that way. So yeah, apply your fondant strands with some sugar glue or some tap water, as I said before. After I was done with that, next step, hurry up, quick. 1 second. I took some sugar pearls and applied those to the connecting spots of my pattern on top. I used some ivory colored ones. I have some pink, blue and mint green ones. Whatever you have on hand, just see if you can apply those. I poked a little hole where they can sit a little bit better in the nice pattern we put on top. But yeah, I didn't really use any sugar glue for this part, because when you poke a hole they sit in it very nicely and don't need a lot of adhesive, so maybe you can skip the sugar glue part altogether. So because I wanted to make it look like it's a little bit of a birthday cake, I applied my number 6 on top, but that part is obviously optional. And let's go to one of the last parts. I took my fondant feathers and a little bit of a like a blade modeling tool, and I cut some pieces out of my feathers to make them look a bit more nice and feathery and natural and a bit more detailed instead of just plain, yeah. So I did that with all of my feathers, and after I gave them some more details, I applied some luster dust in kind of matching colors. This part or this step always makes it look a bit more like it makes it look more like you put effort in it, especially with the light shimmering part. Always beautiful. You can always go with glitter. Always counts, always looks nice. And after I applied my colors, my luster dusts, I applied them on the cake as well, but I didn't apply them flatly to the cake. I tried to glue them on with a little bit of movement so they look like they are flowing in the wind. I know it sounds stupid, but in my opinion it just looks better than applying them flat to the cake. Also, to all the connecting points, I applied some more sugar pearls everywhere, because I felt like the look was coming together that way. And after all my feathers and my pearls and everything was done, I took some edible marker and I applied that nice blue color on the crimp part at the top. And that way I felt like the whole design was coming together and looked very polished and very finished, because without the color I felt like the crimping part, you couldn't really notice it, so the nice little blue border really made it pop in my opinion. And after that I was completely done. Whoop whoop. No, I applied some glitter because you can never go wrong with some light shimmer. So that's what I did. And after that I was completely done. So easy. In my opinion, pretty easy. I'm excited to hear your opinions. Write them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!